No, I won't do it. Why would a lawyer work so hard to see the divination seance be held once more? You are a fool, barbed head, and your foolishness shall yield no gratitude from me. For with the truth revealed by my insights, I shall gladly seek your demise. Bring it on, princess. Oh, because I will correctly interpret each and every one of your insights. Humph. You will regret ever thinking you could use my sacred insights as evidence.
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name.
Here we go.
Let the eyes of everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped. O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
We can skip it this time. We just watched it just a bit ago. Although, what if something else happens? Different. It kind of looks the same. We'll go. We'll skip it. Whoa, she did it so fast! Real Nemu! Gingerl, that's important. Plume Punisher theme. Heavy. Oh. Something slowly crush him? Heavy is not a stabbing pain. That's not death by knife. Although the Plume Punisher theme does make it seem like Maya did it. So.
Oh my! It is just as Mr. Wright surmised. Praise-a-lot wasn't the victim's true name. And now at last, we have seen the victim's final moments.
But all we could see was the ground. You seem terribly disappointed. I take it you did not find any fodder for one of your infamous turnabouts. I, on the other hand, have discovered something. Conclusive evidence that establishes the accused's guilt. You did?
Ha 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 ha! A most surprising surprise attack. So, tell us, Prosecutor Sadmody, what is this conclusive evidence you have found?
The Plume Punisher theme song that the deceased heard. Please consider this item here. Ba-ba-ba. It was confiscated from the accused during her interrogation. Hey! That's my Plume Punisher strap! When you press the Magatama on the Plume Punisher's belt. Well, we know that there's other things that make that noise. Ah! But that could have been anybody making that song. It seems the accused inadvertently pressed the button in the midst of her crime. This strap is an extremely rare item, is it not, Miss Faye? The strap is rare, but the theme song isn't. You'd better not break it. There's only one of those in the whole wide world. Maya, no! No. They're gonna draw the wrong conclusions from that statement. It is just as I said. Your flights of fancy have come crashing down on you. She sure seems to be enjoying this. Yeah, I've never seen her look so thrilled before either. It is time to accept the fact that the divination seance is far more than mere evidence. It is the very truth that brings the hammer of justice down upon the accused.
That is as conclusive as evidence can get. Now then, if there are no further objections...
Objection! Slow down there, your majesty. At least let me make a counter-argument.
What's this? Do you take issue with the divination seance?
Oh, I have issues with it. I just don't know what they are yet. But yeah. But that's never stopped me before. The divination seance is not the absolute truth. It only becomes the truth after it's been interpreted correctly. You do not know when you are beaten, do you, you foolish lawyer? I am the only one who speaks for the Matama of the deceased. If you believe there to be errors in my insights, then let us see you prove it. Give us your insights so we can tear it to little bitty bits. One inconsistency at a time. I think I already know where this is going. The victim was offering up his prayers. It was the night of the rite. The pattern on the plaza's ground was visible in the darkness. That's important. Then someone was there, and the theme to the Plume Punisher filled the air. The accused held the victim down and plunged her dagger into his upper back. The blade struck true, and in that instant, he departed from this world. That is everything the deceased experienced in his final moments. Her benevolence's insights have painted a detailed picture, both vivid and true. I didn't notice any holes there. As they stand now, those insights are really stacked against us. I just have to go over each and every one of the deceased sensations very carefully. Okay, victim was offering up his prayers. We probably want the floor. It was the night of the rite. Though it's dark, the pattern of the plaza ground was visible. And if we go on the court record, as everybody has kind of been pointing out, it actually is green in front of him. So this does sort of look like the right place. So I don't know that we can present that currently. My running suspicion is, since it was a crushing thing, that he was actually over here, and that he's actually looking at one of these somehow and getting crushed. So that when he's not actually bent down, I think he's here because you can actually see right here his handprints. He's not on the floor, he's standing up and pressing against this thing, and it's actually just crushing him down. So he's falling under that. But I don't know if we can conclusively prove that currently. Let's keep looking at this. The pattern on the plaza's ground was visible. Then someone was there, and the theme to the Plume Punisher filled the air. Touch, touch, smell. The gingerl smell is actually really important too. Because of the timing of it. It was the night of the rite, and they smelled gingerl. Let's get that, because the gingerl is only used between noon and 3 o'clock, because you do not want to smell gingerl during the actual rite. I'm going to present the gingerl right now, because that seems one of the easier things to push into. Was it really the night of the rite? What do you mean? It could not be otherwise. The accused slew Acolyte Zalot after killing the high priest during the purification rite. The only problem is the deceased spirit does not corroborate that. What's this? Take a good look at what the victim smelled. Do you see how it says gingerl? Acolyte Zalot shouldn't have smelled any gingerl on the night of the rite.
What do you mean?
Let me back up my statement with some evidence for you. This should explain how the victim couldn't have smelled gingerl on the night of the rite. It is...
It's gonna be Believed Statement, I think. Let's see. Must be finished by 3 p.m. the same day. Starts at noon, finished by 3 p.m. Thanks to Believed Statement, we know what time it was. The high priest who I believed in me told me about the Feast of Blessings. The feast includes a number of ginjal-based dishes, and they're only supposed to be served at a certain time the day before the rite.
Why, I believe you're right. I had completely forgotten about that.
During the feast, the unique smell of ginjal pervades the entire kingdom. The fact that the victim smelled it means he was murdered between noon and 3 p.m. the day before the purification rite. Change the timing, first of all. That means he didn't die while praying. You gotta slowly just tear off the bits.
I am not so easily fooled. Did that autopsy report not make it clear? The estimated time of death was during the rite.
All right. I taught her about that yesterday. Forgive me your benevolence, but the estimated time of death is just that, an estimate. Depending on the circumstances, it's possible for it to change.
What's this?
Like, if a body was kept cold, the slowed rate of decay makes the death seem more recent.
Why, I believe I have heard something of the sort before. If it is as Mr. Wright claims, the estimated time of death in the autopsy report will have to be revised.
Ah, ha 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 ha. And I think I know how he was kept cold.
Bobbed head, you blinded me with science.
You don't get that reference? This is a song that... Sorry, wait, what am I apologizing for?
No matter. The murder may have occurred in the afternoon hours the day before the rite. Nevertheless, the murder weapon with the accused's prints on it is incontrovertible evidence. I will now amend my insight to account for this new truth.
It's the afternoon of the day before the rite. Though a bit dark, the pattern on the plaza's ground was visible.
The time of death has been corrected, leaving my insight infallible. Nick!
A change in the time of death is bound to cause some sort of an inconsistency. If I had something that showed what it was like on that day, it could really help. Like the snow on the ground. Let's see. Victor was offering up his prayers. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. Though a bit dark, the pattern on the plaza's ground was still visible. There is a weather report. Can I present evidence to those? I don't think I can, actually. I feel like just the sight of the pattern might be important here. Let's just try it. See what they talk about. The change in the date and time of the crime has caused a new inconsistency to surface.
What's this? You are making that irritating face again. I hate it. Cease that at once.
Sorry, but this is the face I was born with. Now, let's focus on what is important. What the victim saw in his final moments. I was worried that wouldn't work. It was a little vague.
Do you have bats in the belfry, Bobbed Head? There is nothing to see. The ground at the plaza was all that entered the victim's eyes.
And that's what I find so strange. On the day before the rite, it should have been impossible to see that pattern on the ground.
Impossible, you say? Do explain.
This piece of evidence shows why the plaza's ground was not visible that day. I think it's the newspaper report about the weather. Is it just a snow clue? Let's read the newspaper. The thick white ice that froze the ground from the inner sanctum to the Plaza of Devotion until yesterday has melted. So it was covered in ice at the time.
Check that!
This newspaper has an article that is tiny in size, but huge in importance. It says that the ground was covered with thick white ice the day before the rite.
What? But...
The victim did not see so much as an ice cube on the ground.
Exactly. And so we must ask, what was the victim looking at in his final moments?
If you have something to say, then say it.
The last thing the victim saw was not the ground at the Plaza of Devotion. This can only mean that he was killed elsewhere.
What?
What?
What? What? Then where do you propose the victim was actually killed?
Yes, tell us where. Otherwise, your argument is worthless.
About that. Hadn't gotten to that part yet. I think I know. Any ideas, Maya?
Let me think. Well, it's somewhere green and shaggy, right?
Right, but where else could that be?
What is it, bobbed head? Giving up already?
Not at all. Now, where have I seen something green and shaggy? This shows where the victim was killed. It's gonna be right here in the rebel hideout.
Check that!
The secret hideout the rebels were using.
The rebel hideout? There was no such place anywhere on the floor of that chamber.
You're absolutely right. There's no place. On the floor, anyway.
And what did the victim see in his final moments if not the floor of the rebel hideout?
This is what the victim saw in his final moments. He was looking at the wall on this Magatama sculpture as it slowly crushed him. The shaggy green surface the victim saw was one of the moss-covered stone slabs. As you can see, there are two distinct hand-shaped impressions in the moss here. I believe the victim was killed while he stood there with his hands pressed against the slab.
That does agree with the seance vision. However, one cannot definitely declare they are one and the same.
I concur. There is no proof that a murder occurred in the rebel hideout.
We've got the blood. Luminol forensics.
Indeed. What evidence do you have of this?
I've already shown you the evidence.
Oh, what do you mean?
Please take a look at this second version of the photo I just showed you. You can see the results of the luminol test I performed in the rebel hideout. This is proof positive that someone had been bleeding in front of that stone slab.
It is true.
This information has already been provided to the police.
Detective Sky, to whom does this blood belong?
We thought it was the high priest's blood that flowed in from outside. So, we haven't tested it yet.
Then you must do so at once.
Yes, Your Majesty. Let me just go out there and just try to scoop up a little bit. I'm gonna just...
It appears the police have finished testing the blood. Detective Sky, your report, please.
The blood found in the rebel hideout, belongs to Perez a lot, just like the defense claims. Detective Sky, do you realize what your blunder has done to me? When this trial concludes, I want to see you in my prayer chamber. There, I will deliver a joyous sermon onto you for 8 hours straight. I'm really sorry, but please, anything but that. I'll just hit me, hurt me, anything but a prayer sermon. Maybe, just maybe, this is the chance we've been waiting for?
You think, Maya? Yep, it would seem so. I hate to do this to Emma, but,
Go for it, it's full speed ahead!
The victim was killed in the rebel hideout the day before the purification rite. Then, his body was moved to the Plaza of Devotion by someone we've yet to identify. So when we thought we saw Acolyte Zealot praying during the rite, he was already dead. Ah! And that's not all. If he was killed at the inner sanctum, that would explain one more thing.
And that would be
how the time of death was made to look later than it actually was. The proof of which was left behind at the sanctum. This points to how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was. It was the snowbank.
Take that! Why, these are photos of the inner sanctum.
I'd like to focus on this one. The proof is right here in this photo. This is how the time of death was made to appear later than it really was. Do you see how the snow has been removed from this one spot only? That's because it was used to keep the victim's body cold. And that's why the time of death wasn't what it seemed.
The time was mistaken, and the place too, and just what do you believe that proves?
That my client is innocent?
What of her fingerprints on the dagger and the plume punisher theme the victim heard? You have failed to address these two key pieces of evidence.
No, there's a clock, and also the dagger didn't matter, he was crushed. I see your point.
Wasn't this your big chance, Nick?
I'm really hoping that the difference in location can invalidate either the weapon or the theme song from being used as evidence against you.
Actually, that might be possible, at least for one of them.
Really?
What's this? You say you can contradict our argument for a key piece of evidence? Very well, let us see you try. Nick, take a good look at the rebel hideout photo.
Oh! The defense can invalidate this piece of evidence, the plumed Punisher theme.
The plumed Punisher theme? And how do you intend to support such a claim?
Since the murder happened in the rebel hideout, there's something there that played the theme song other than my client's strap.
It wasn't a strap? Is this true?
The item that played the Plume Punisher theme song was this. It was the clock.
Take that!
This is a Plumed Punisher alarm clock. I believe the victim heard its alarm go off.
What proof do you have that the alarm went off?
Objection!
What proof do you have that it was my client's strap that played the theme song?
Do not twist the facts with your lawyerly wiles. Either way, the accused would still be guilty based off of her prints on the murder weapon. And here is what really happened. Just throw all the insides out and start over. Phoenix, bobbed head. The victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. Though there may have been some twists and turns, that is the truth of what happened.
Ugh. I won't get anywhere until I can eliminate the dagger.
Most impressive, your benevolence. I see no inconsistencies anywhere in the prosecution's case.
No. There is one.
What's this? You still claim there to be an inconsistency.
Try as you might, the outcome will always be the same.